And now new details in a Target 12 investigators exclusive. A former lawmaker now accused of being a lawbreaker.
John Carnevale facing a 4-count indictment, all stemming from our Target 12 undercover investigation that raised questions about whether the House rep actually lived in the district he represented.
Target 12 investigator Tim White broke the story of Carnevale's arrest last night at 5, and he joins us now live in studio. Tim.
Mike and Shannon, the grand jury indicted Carnevale on Thursday. This morning, after spending the night in state police custody, Carnevale was formally charged at Providence Superior Court. Hands in cuffs, former Providence lawmaker John Carnevale is led into court.
Mailing address, I've been using 150 Barber Street, Providence, Rhode Island.
A judge unsealed the 4-count indictment Friday, charging Carnevale with 3 felony counts of perjury and 1 count of filing a false document.
Not guilty.
Investigators say Carnevale lied when he signed a homestead agreement with the city of Providence that claimed he lived at this Barber Street address full time. For years, the document gave him a break on his property taxes.
You have no story.
The criminal case comes after a Target 12 undercover investigation found Carnevale spending a lot of time at a Johnston house he owns, not in the Providence district he represented. The former vice chairman of the powerful House Finance Committee took office in 2009 and dropped out of his re-election bid in July in the wake of the Target 12 report.
There's no doubt it contributes to the cynicism of some Rhode Islanders.
Attorney General Peter Kilmartin attended the arraignment. He served with Carnevale as a lawmaker before becoming the state's top prosecutor. Is it uncomfortable for you in any way to prosecute a former colleague?
I never enjoy prosecuting a former colleague, but the reality is I got elected to a job too of the public trust. And when someone else violates it, whether I know them or not, I have the duty to proceed, and we did.
Carnevale was released on $50,000 personal recognizance. So what exactly do prosecutors say Carnevale lied about while under oath? We'll break down each of the 3 perjury counts coming up new at 6 o'clock with the Target 12 investigators Tim White, Eyewitness News.
New details on a Target 12 investigators exclusive. Eyewitness News was there as former state representative John Carnevale was led into Providence Superior Court in handcuffs. The 5-term lawmaker is facing criminal charges following our Target 12 undercover investigation, which found Carnevale spending a lot of time at a house he owned outside the district he represented.
Carnevale was arraigned today. Target 12 investigator Tim White was in the courtroom, and he joins us now in studio. Tim, today's developments come 7 months since the first story aired.
Yeah, Mike Shannon, it has been a stunning fall from grace for the 55-year-old Democrat. Once the vice chairman of the powerful House Finance Committee, John Carnevale, now stands accused of lying under oath about where he lived. After spending the night in state police custody, John Carnevale is led into Providence Superior Court in handcuffs.
Not guilty.
The indictment, unsealed Friday, charges Carnevale with 1 count of filing a false document and 3 felony counts of perjury. Breaking down each count, prosecutors say Carnevale lied while under oath before the Providence Board of Canvassers in July in a hearing about his residency. Count 1 says Carnevale was dishonest when he used the address of this Providence home when he registered to vote. Count 2 alleges Carnevale lied about charging rent at a property he owns in Johnston, and count 3 is from this testimony.
I walk up a small staircase and I use the facilities, the bathroom, for instance.
Carnevale claimed he slept in the basement of the Providence home and shared the bathroom and kitchen with his tenants.
We are saying we represent the people. The people are entrusting us with that office. And as I said, these allegations violate that trust.
Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Kilmartin attended Carnevale's arraignment.
Unfortunately, I've been here all too often, as my predecessors have, moving cases forward for public corruption cases. So look at that side of it, that if something comes to light, it will be investigated and properly prosecuted.
You have no story.
The criminal case sparked by a Target 12 undercover investigation in June, which raised questions about where Carnevale actually lived. Outside court, Carnevale again declined to answer any questions.
No comment this time. Thank you.
Now, if convicted, Carnevale faces the possibility of up to 20 years in prison for each count of perjury. Mike, Shannon?
Well, perjury counts, obviously the big charges,
Yes.
but what about filing a false document?
Well, that is a misdemeanor and comes with a possibility of 1 year behind bars. Now, prosecutors say he was dishonest with the city of Providence when he signed what's called a homestead form, and that's pledging that he lived in that house full time. Keep in mind, Carnevale received a tax break on his property taxes for years for signing that form. He no longer gets that lower rate.
And we know you'll follow this for us.
Absolutely.
Target 12 investigator Tim White, thank you. And the Target 12 investigators are always looking to uncover news. If you want to send a tip or report government waste, call our tip line 228-1763, or you can email us at target12@wpri.com.